Lenyatso all over it, you know. Ingotse lenyatso because after so many years, Tebo, I haven't set foot in your yard. So many years. And then, for some reason, you have this idea to say you can set foot in my yard. And lenyatso le mo hore I left this man alone. And I would like to just backtrack anyane mo hore there were times I'd often say hore hare dutse kaofela enjoying ourselves and being real with each other. Hore, you know what, if things were to go south, I can still go dust off my CV and go back into the system, you know? And that's what I did. The reasons why it went south, I would have hoped it would have been other reasons than why I actually left. So bringing it into this situation, Kihore, I've left, I'm minding my own business, doing what I said I would do if things were to go left. And you have the neck to set foot ekhaya. And you actually sit my mother down. That's more like you are ordering my mother. Where do you, where the nerve, where does it come from? The gore. You understand what I'm saying? To say because now you've started this shitstorm, and please don't censor it because it is a shitstorm. You went and decided to say, you know what, how can I salvage this situation? If there was any salvaging to do. Because from where I'm at, it was more of, you know what, if I was real to myself, into this whole thing, and I need to be accountable to that. And I have to sit here as a former friend and be the one to hold you accountable. I don't find comfort in that. Once a confrontation as in twaka. If you know me, I always give people a benefit of a doubt. I'm that person. I always see the goodness in a person up until he gave me a reason to, you know, see you otherwise. And he gave me a reason to see him otherwise. And I'm not mincing my words. The perception that he's been trying to put out there, it's just sad. Like, this whole thing is just sad. It's just sad. Because you're saying, and your minions, the, excuse me, the alleged rise and fall. Can we just think about it for a second? The alleged rise and fall of me? Can we just call me nuts? I'm just seeing people premeditating someone's downfall. Like you actually having a conversation and like, you know what? Oh yes, there's the likes, the views. How can we, because I can tell you for one, they had that conversation about I don't have to be there. For them to have gotten to that point to title that segment of their podcast to say the rise and fall. Guys, come on. The rise and fall. Like you actually sat there and you said the alleged rise and fall. Like that made sense to you. That made absolute sense. And then you say you spoke to my mom's. She doesn't want you in her house, by the way. She doesn't. You are not welcome. Let's not get what you call restriction orders. Am I right? Let's not get that in. You have a lot to deal with. You have a life or multiple life attempts to deal with, my man. I'm the least of your worries. I am the least of your worries. So hamba ngama bulletproof when? Awungitelelile. Awungitelelile. Just this morning, ngiyavuka in the middle of the night, okay? My partner, she had a late night, and I'm in the trance of waking up, going to the bathroom. She just happened to be playing that interview, and I'm hearing that guy's voice in my space. I'm like, ngiphumile kulo muntu mara ngimuzwa la ngikhona. I don't know wangikutlwa re ke reng. So the impact, it's huge. I've got responsibilities. Kodwa manje in my space kwamele kukhulunywe ngale ndoda le. I've got stuff to worry about, but there's this individual. Ngikhuluma umuntu naye unomndeni wakhe, his own family. You've got your own family, bruh. Kube bathi we could lay our problems on the floor. And we'd often actually, me and him, talk about this, he knows. O tla bona motho a tsamaya ka eng, a dula ka eng. O mo kgalle. And then, mara, if it was to happen, or we, be transparent about problems. Ke tlo sheba di-problems tsa kere ai braka ai fa ke o chandis ke nqa ka tsetsa ka tse. And now tse tsa hao tse now se dile mo spacing saka. I don't need that. This I ke motho di podcast. I love podcasts. Mo spacing saka na le motho o wa ka. Okay, ahang bokomoso baka le yena ubudlelwane lo bhuti lo sekumele manje sischeduleize yena ukuthi okay lo kumele sidile ngaye manje uyisidina. That's how you, Tebohe Ezekiel Munsi, have affected my life, my partner, our lives. I hope that answers your question. Space, bruh. I don't. Big one. big one, big one. Um, it's more like what's happening to me right now. What's happening or what's been happening. What's been happening is a journey into finding out who I really am, finding out who I really am. We don't, as people, give ourselves time to really understand who we are. We don't really give ourselves time, especially with the hustle and bustle. You always gotta be, on top of things. You always gotta be figuring things out. We don't really give ourselves time to know who we are. And I'd like to believe I've given myself, a lot of time to understand who I am, what I'm here on this planet for, because there's that one as well. I don't want to get into that. That's a conversation for another day, but understanding why I'm here. We touched on the calling bit. We all have a calling, and understanding why you're here in this meat sack called the body. That now gives a lot of meaning to life, and it is with the time I've invested in understanding who I am. There's a lot of meaning. There's a lot of meaning into who I am and what I'm here for, and what I've seen happen ever since the exit. It's nothing short of amazing. That one, I would love to tell people, however, each and every person has to experience their own journey. And investing time in understanding who you are would actually solve a lot of people's problems. You know, we deem it depression, we deem it mental wellness. It's a real thing. I'm not disregarding it. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. However, it all begins in understanding who you are. And I've come a long way in understanding who I am and where I am. I'm at a point where I'm ready for the next level. And looking at what has been happening, people who I've been talking to, conversations that have been had, it's only good things. Not only just from a music space, not only from a music space. I'm talking things like you planning retirement in the next 3 years. That's another part of me that people don't know. And if now let's say and you heard what I heard, what I just said. Sorry, you heard what I just said. You'd understand, yes, music is there. Music will always be there. However, Mfana Futi, who you know as Moda, aka Fruity Star, is not only about music. I'm more, and I've come to understand who I am. And going forward, amazing stuff is gonna happen. Stuff that's gonna wow me as a person to say, okay, Mfana Futhi, you actually dared yourself, and nayi iyaphila lento le uyakhile. The same way as I've had a hand in Ugaka, that record label. Isilethe la. I should be enjoying my space. Maramanje, here I am, man. Nguphi kuphi endaweni. Hey, Tebo. Hey. Zokunikeza ama-invoice we-petrol. But yeah, that's where I am. Then ukuya phambili, it's a lot more. We're talking legacy stuff, and we talk. Isn't it simple? Taking care of the next person, taking care of yourself. it's easy and authentic to be who you are than